Yo, what up? It's Chris from Brooklyn Wildlife, all things Gamba, Black land ownership, all the things we do here. I just want to say hello. How are you doing? Let's invite some people to this chat. And today we're going to talk about something that is super hot. I try to stay away from trends or topics that are only momentary and try to have discussions that are a bit more universal in scope. So often I'm talking about society or politics or the general nature of art, economics, things of that nature. And I try to avoid things that are just in the media for the moment, because then will it matter a year later? And I think this topic isn't going away. I remember a couple years ago when crypto really hit the public awareness and people thought it wouldn't last. And there was a huge dip after the news covered it and everyone got interested and people lost money and other folks were like, see, we knew this was fake, and they got out of it. And if you remember this, like past spring after COVID hit, Bitcoin went down to $5,000 and I didn't have any money. I was worried about not being able to make any money. So I took a couple $100 I had and I used Cash App. So I'm not really buying a Bitcoin, but it makes it seem like you are. And I put a couple $100 into it. Well, Bitcoin is now worth over 50,000. So, I mean, if you had $100,000 last March and when Bitcoin went down to $5,000 a Bitcoin and you bought $100,000 worth of Bitcoin, you'd have a whole lot of money right now. And that was after people already lost a bunch of money. And so like the markets around crypto are similar to like stocks in the sense it's very volatile. And there are people who've made a lot of money, people who've lost a lot of money. Difference, the stock market's been around for like 100 years. So people continue to have faith in it. And if you know, or at least if you understand certain theories of economics, part of it is confidence and market confidence and the people believing that they are going to be able to make money engaging in certain exchanges. So before I get into what an NFT is, which is a non-fungible token, we need to first establish two things: where value emanates, and how things are assigned value, and why things cost anything, right? So before we even get into the NFT and how you can use it, let's have an understanding of kind of how money works and how we exchange in our society, and then how art has value in the first place. And then take it to the technology and how that's advanced. And so when we think about like what gives an object value in our society, we tend to say it's supply and demand. So if there's something in limited supply, like a diamond, or it's very difficult to get, then if a lot of people want it, then it's going to be expensive because there'll be a limited number of them and a lot of people wanting it. And so the person selling it can charge a lot of money, and you play off that competition in establishing the price, as well as how expensive it is to get it to market. We're thinking about like our current way of living. Well, water is readily available everywhere, but because it's been poisoned, people can now sell bottled water. Like clean water is now something that's scarce and everyone needs water. So it creates value for it. When you think of like, why are you paying an electrician? Because if you need that service, like we all need electricity in our current society, we don't know how to fix it. So like the skill set of knowing how to work with electricity is the resource being exchanged. It's limited in its availability. Not many people know how to work with electricity. A lot of people need electricity. So an electrician is able to sell the service at a high rate because their service is needed by a lot of people, and there are very few people that are able to do it. So there's some necessity to it. There's an actual use involved. Or like if I buy an apple, I'm hungry. And so when I buy an apple, I'm able to eat it. And when we think about art, what gives art value? Theoretically, art has no use or no purpose. And so it then really would have no value in our society. We're able to exchange art for a number of reasons. One is in our current society, people pay for entertainment. In other societies, people don't do that. Like they don't spend a lot of money on things just to like make themselves smile or laugh or cry. In our society, we do. So we can sell art as entertainment. But at the point at which it's entertainment, the purpose is no longer art. The purpose is, again, entertainment. And so there's another influence involved. And we can see the entertainment business in America between music and movies and yada, yada. But really, the entertainment business becomes a vehicle to sell other products. So the music is used to sell perfume and clothes and liquor and cars and jewelry and all these other elements of our society. So it's not necessarily art. It's an extension of marketing and advertising via the idea that it's entertainment. When you think about just like then art that does nothing, then there's the value of collectors and this idea like because a person painted it and there's only one ever and there was only one Michelangelo. So if there's a Mona Lisa or you have one Rembrandt or you have one Jacob Lawrence, whoever else it is, then the fact that they made it and they have a name to them, so people are collecting their work, gives it value because again, it's limited. And the fact that there was only one made, it's not just that you have limited opportunities to have an ornament or a totem or a piece attached to this artist. There's that one that they made, but they only have a limited supply of all of them. And so artists are only going to be able to sell as much as they can physically make. And if you paint or do things that take a long time to make, then you're somewhat limited in how much work you can make, thus how many pieces you can sell. And so then that creates more value, though, for the limited number of pieces you were able to make if people are exchanging your work for a lot of money. So another part that establishes the value of your artwork is how much people will pay for it. So when we think about money, part of value in money is that it's all fake. Part of it is literally what are you willing to pay, or what is another person willing to force you to pay for the thing that you need. So theoretically, when I go to the dentist, I don't get to negotiate. I don't get to say, hey, I don't think this tooth extraction is worth $1,500. This is just some arbitrary price you've named. But again, you're the only one that can do it. I don't have a way of negotiating. So value inherently is not something static or fixed. So before we even get into NFTs, when we're talking about money and art, we have to talk about then how value is attributed to art, and then talk about money and the difference between money and cryptocurrency, because most of the NFT sites work on cryptocurrency. And when people think, well, cryptocurrency is fake because it's decentralized, it's not regulated, and this and that. Well, money is fake. Money only has value because people put value in it. And other people have decided that you can use it. So we've created this item, money, which is valueless and can be used to exchange for goods that have value. And we think the value's in the money. The value is actually in the labor. The value is in what it took to get us the product we're buying. And the value is in how we utilize it or what we're going to do with it. But we exchange dollars because those dollars allow us to create an equation for an equitable exchange. Otherwise, we'd be doing bartering where it's like, I want to buy a table. You have a cow. How do we do that? Like, so I give you 4 tables for a cow. What if my table is made out of a special like product that's more expensive? How do we figure out what the value is? Well, we just use money. We say like my table's worth $200. Your cow is normally worth $800. Why don't we just do something so that I can give you $800 for your cow and you can give me $200 for my table or whatever it's going to be, and we figure it out. But the money allows us to create an equation for exchange that where it isn't considered in the equation as value, which differs in other forms of exchange. And so like when we think cryptocurrency isn't money, it's a token. It represents, it's a value holder for money. And that's why it's allowed to exist, because in America, there can only be one currency, which is the US dollar. And so the way cryptocurrency skirts that is by saying it's not an actual currency. It's a token. It's a placeholder. It allows you to represent money in this item that's then exchanged. And that's similar to what money does in terms of paper money or like actual lucre or fiat currency. But it's different in that fiat currency still exists, and the crypto is then associated with that in order to be used in society, because most places don't take crypto. So you have to exchange your dollars for crypto. But your crypto is not money per se. It's a token. So now we can get to NFTs because we understand value, we understand art, and we understand how money works and differs from crypto. And also crypto is decentralized. It's on the blockchain. But when we think about money in your bank is digital already. So anyway, one dope thing about cryptocurrency, though, is you could use it anywhere in the world where they would accept it. And when you think about regular money, if you haven't traveled out of the US, you don't realize like the US dollar doesn't mean shit in certain countries. I went to Syria. You can't use the US dollar in certain places. You can't get to a Chase Bank, a Bank of America. You can't get a US dollar unless it's on a black market. And so its value is different. Cryptocurrency can be used anywhere in the world where they accept it. And so you don't have to deal with then money exchange fees or currency exchange fees. You don't have to worry about if you're traveling and you're in 4 or 5 or 6 different countries having to get different money in those different places if they all accept crypto. So it has a lot of advantages. Banks don't like it because they make a lot of money dealing with currency exchange, but that's another thing. That's why banks started investing in crypto. But all right, so that takes us to NFTs, right? A non-fungible token. So as I said earlier, tokens a representative for money. It's like when you go to Chuck E. Cheese, you can get those tickets or tokens or what have you. So a non-fungible token means it can't be exchanged for another item of equal value. So a fungible token could be like a dollar, or like a gold bar. Sorry, a gold bar. So a gold bar could be exchanged for $10 or another gold bar that's worth $10. They both have equal value and you can exchange them for themselves as well. So there are two ways it can be exchanged, for the dollar as well as then for another item of equal value. A non-fungible token, which you're creating on a blockchain and what we're talking about around art in this case, cannot be exchanged for another token. It can only be exchanged for for another NFT. It can only be exchanged for a cryptocurrency or whatever the platform is working on. So in this case, most people are using Ethereum. So at this point, if you mint, which is like what they say when you're creating an NFT, a non-fungible token, once it's minted, then you can't exchange it for anything other than that form of currency used on the platform. And all of the information about that non-fungible token is included in it being minted. So it then tells people who made it, when they made it, how many of them there were made, and using blockchain and smart contracts and yada, yada, all of the associated considerations, and then can track who made it, who exchanged it to who, for how much money, and, going from there. Now, numerous things can be made into an NFT. One of them might be a song or something audio. One of them could be a video. One of them could be a GIF. One of them could be a photo. One of them could be your NFT. Whatever it is that you publish or mint as a NFT could have multiple source of media, could be presented numerous ways. It's not just, I put my song on the internet, now it's an NFT, or I put up a JPEG photo, now it's an NFT. The NFT is the way you categorize an item. So numerous things could be an NFT. It's just a non-fungible token. When you mint an NFT, you can mint a audio, you can mint video, you could mint video with audio in it. You can do so many different things. So when we're thinking about it, let's make sure we understand the terminology. And I would say, look at a lot of different videos, read a lot of different articles, because they all delve into various elements of it. And so now that you understand that, you might be like, well, how do you mint an NFT? Or like, how do you turn your regular file that's in your computer into one of these things? So this is more complicated, and I haven't done it yet. I'm going to be doing that soon. So I definitely am not an expert in any of the things I'm saying. This is like a novice understanding. This is literally a person still learning at the very beginning, trying to explain to other people who are still learning at the very beginning. So in order to turn your file, you have to go to a website that converts it and basically registers your file, and then says it's an NFT, and it can help or behoove you to use a site that does the conversion or the minting, as well as is a marketplace. So in order to do that, you're going to need a wallet and a way of turning your regular US dollars, if you're in the US, into crypto. And if you're using certain platforms like Rarible or OpenSea, I believe they function on Ethereum. So you'll want to get a wallet that allows you to convert your dollars or US currency into Ethereum. That's going to cost you money to do that, in the sense that you have to buy Ethereum, and then you also have to pay whatever fees are associated with doing that. The cost of Ethereum goes up and down. So on a good day, you might pay less. Good day, you pay. Bad day, you pay more. So then once you have some Ethereum, you need to go to a site that allows you to convert the file from your JPEG or your MOV file or what have you into the actual NFT that's going to be up for sale. You can use, again, like Rarible, or there are a couple of them that do it. Once you do that, you then have to introduce it into a marketplace. You choose whether or not you want to auction it. Some sites are for auction, some are sales, some are ongoing bids. There are a whole, just ton of ways you could choose to sell it. And that's also where you dictate how the file can be used. So when you sell it, You get to decide if the person can take it and make something with it, if the person can't do anything with it, if they can't share it with anyone, if they can send it around the world, if they can make a commercial product and sell it. Because what people aren't realizing, if they don't include in their contract, I can buy your NFT, and if it's not explicitly stated that you retain rights to it or that I can't copy or duplicate it, I can then make tons of copies. Now, I can't sell them as the original NFT, but I can sell that image like on a t-shirt or something like that, and you never even planned on it. And so make sure you understand the terms of how your art or whatever it is you put up can be used. If you put up a song that a person can't remix it unless you want them to, if you put up a beat that they can't put out a single and then go shop into a label and get $30,000 and you don't get any of it, whatever the terms or considerations are, you need to include that in how you put it up online. And there's something that I did want to get into is the NFT is not synonymous, on my mind, it's not the same thing as the actual object that gets turned into the NFT. So theoretically, I can put up an NFT that's a picture of my living room. I sell it to someone. That person screenshots it. They can send it around to all of their friends and family. And a person would say, well, now they've just sent your NFT around the world. They haven't. They sent a screenshot of the NFT around the world. The NFT is the item that was registered and that is tracked and stamped, basically. And so that can't be duplicated. That can't be sent anywhere else. But yo, all right, we're back. What's up? It's Chris. My phone cut off, of course, right when I got to the fun part. I was basically just saying, like, one of the issues that comes up with online art in trying to establish that it's scarce is proving who made it in the first place. And in this case, it's just going to be with the NFT, Non-Fungible Token. It's who had it registered, like under whose account, and that will establish like ownership, and then transfer of ownership, who had the right to buy it, how much did they buy it for, and it can trace that. And a person can say, well, let's say you have an audio recording that you're selling as your NFT. Another person could run that audio into their stereo, record it, and then duplicate it and send it around the world. So in that way, your NFT is being sent around the world. That's not really the case. Your audio is being sent around the world. The thing that got turned into an NFT got sent around the world. But what makes it an NFT is that registration process. So unless the file has that stamp or that identification tag, then it's not the actual NFT and theoretically should have no value. Now, are there examples of paintings that were redone, repainted, and still had value? Yeah, but they weren't worth the Mona Lisa. Like, you could have a person in art school right now who is amazing, and you could have them paint a Rembrandt. But when they try to go sell it at Christie's, it's not going to sell. You know, when they try to go put it up at auction, it's not going to get you the same money that Rembrandt would. So theoretically, your NFT is in the same way protected in that it's not just the item that matters, but the actual NFT like signature, what have you. So there are some interesting ideas. And so for an artist like me, like, I am going to use it, but I will also express skepticism. I will also say that all the time artists are being targeted as the folks that will go really hard, spend all their own money, and then make another industry popular, right? So when you think about hip hop was used to make alcohol popular in certain communities. Hip hop was used to make certain clothing popular in certain communities. It became a vehicle to then sell other goods. And the people selling like the idea, like the people selling the image, weren't the ones getting the money. The people that actually sold the liquor made the money. The people that actually made the clothes and run these boutiques where they don't hire black people, they made the money. And so when we're looking at the internet stuff, it's like the way artists get targeted is just like housing. When Bushwick first changed, it was like, we'll get a bunch of artists in here. They'll make the neighborhood cool. They'll deal with a whole bunch of bullshit. They'll spend their own money to fix up the apartment. We won't do anything to make it a better living space. And once the artists make everything cool, then other people come in and spend even more money, and the artists won't get any benefit of all that change and probably won't be able to afford to live there anymore and stay there. Or when you think about it as a musician, you're constantly targeted. Like, if you're a musician, you're told you need a manager, an agent, a lawyer, a booker, a PR person. You got to pay for advertising. You have to pay all these other people. And there are all these industries that literally just prey on artists. They don't need you. Like, they don't care if you have fans, if you're willing to keep paying them. And they don't make more or less money based on their output to a certain extent. You know, tons of artists that pay out all the time and never see the money come back. One of the limitations of trying to be an artist, if you're a painter, is the cost of supplies. You're painting all these things that cost you money to make, and you can't sell them anywhere. You don't have a representative. You don't have an agent. You don't have a gallery that would showcase your work. And so there are all these inhibitors to doing well. So you're thinking like, well, I'll go digital. I don't have to pay any money up front in order to make my art. I don't have to lug a 20-foot canvas down this, in the train in order to get it to a gallery. I don't have to pay the extra money to then ship my 4,000-pound sculpture. Whatever it is that you do as an art that makes it difficult. The internet seems easier. And so I will warn, with all this internet hype and everyone's talking about it, it's not what it seems. Like, people are talking about it in a way that's more confusing than it has to be. And if you think about it, folks are using language that's more difficult than it needs to be, and terms that are like jargon, in order to make it seem like it's crazier than it is. But it's, in my mind, a simple way to take a digital file and stamp it and identify who made it, who's allowed to buy it, how many of them are in circulation, and who has exchanged it. Now, with that relying on crypto, that's an interesting thing. So it's already like your art that you make is based on the dollar. So the value of your art will go up or down based on who's willing to buy it. And that's going to be based on the economy. And in most things, when people have less money, then the value of other things also has to go down to accommodate it, right? So like, you think about housing, when people can't afford $1,000 rent because of the pandemic, then landlords lower the rent so that somebody will pay the $800. Right. And so in a way, the dollar has more or less value to the different people involved. But the dollar shifts so little, theoretically, because obviously inflation and depressions and this and that, that you can utilize it and know that if your apple is worth $1 today, it's probably going to be worth $1 tomorrow. It's probably going to be worth $2 over however many years, so you can kind of project it. Crypto is far more volatile. So if you have an item based on cryptocurrency and that price changes, then the value of your art isn't only changed by whether or not people will pay a certain amount for it, but by the actual token changing a lot. So if someone, let's say like I buy someone's art at what would be equivalent of $100. Let's say it's 10 Banks cars. That's my token. It's not, but let's say I have one. So if I buy your artwork at 10 Banks cars, and then the Banks car token goes half the value, now is anyone going to buy it for 12? Banks car tokens? Probably not, because it's not worth 10 anymore. It's actually that person that bought it at 10. Now it's like worth half of that. Will people pay more? On the other hand, you could buy some artwork, then it goes up. And now, can people afford it anymore? There are all these interesting things about, like, with the token having value to money as well as having value to art. At a certain point, will people want to put their US dollars into art because they trust that more than putting it into crypto or other ways that you would save your money? One of the reasons why people like buy property is because like the value of it doesn't move in the same way money does, or why people buy gold, because gold doesn't move in the same way that money does. And so it's not to use the gold, it's not to do anything with it, but it's to keep, so that you can go take it to a bank or go take it somewhere and exchange the gold for its value in dollars. And the gold has retained value better than dollars, depending on the time period you're in. And so thinking about using art as a way of people putting, like, if the crypto market starts decreasing, what does that do for the art value? If the US dollar decreases or increases, what does that do for the art value? If they both increase, decrease simultaneously, or any kind of variation of that, what does that do for the art value? I think it's like a really interesting thing to explore. And when we think about, like, in contemporary society, artworks is a very unique commodity in that when folks start losing money, art can go up in value. Traditionally. So during the last economic downturn, a lot of wealthy folks put their money into artwork, and that artwork increased in value. There was an article either in the New Yorker or like one of the economists, something, where they were explaining how the art industry was defying economic theory, and that the most expensive photograph was sold within however many months or years of one of the largest economic downturns. And he started noticing that even during the economic downturn, art retains and increases in value. So what will that mean once we go to digital and crypto, and once we're looking at NFTs? So I'm excited about it. I'd be very cautious when we're looking at all these things online where they're like, just take my course, I'll teach you how to do it. Just do this. We're paying up front as artists. So when I was saying earlier before, like one of the inhibitors to making art is having to carry your big painting or having to pay for your supplies, and you think digital is going to be easier. Well, in order for you to make an NFT, you pay gas. I didn't mention that earlier, but in order to mint, you have to pay a processing fee for all intents and purposes. People will tell you that you're paying for the energy it takes or some computer processing power or yada, yada, yada. I'm going to call bullshit. And I know someone's going to show me the math, someone's going to show me the computer science. I'm going to call bullshit that it's a way to charge people. And so even if I never sell a single thing, the people that run the page get paid. The folks that are minting get paid. And I believe part of the system is like when your engagement increases creation of other coins at certain points for some of the sites. So your sheer activity generates more revenue. You just being involved generates more revenue for the people that own it. Whereas you're paying money, I think it's like $80 or $100 to mint on certain sites. Some of them don't charge, but then you can't alter the contract. And so I'd be very cautious about that. And so just think about it. Like there are going to be a lot of folks that make a bunch of money because in order for you to mint something, you have to go buy Ethereum. So if 50,000 artists around the country in this week go buy Ethereum or go, convert, that makes a bunch of people some money. If another, 400,000 people decide in the next however many months that they're going to pursue this, a bunch of people are going to make a whole lot of money. And how many of those artists will ever sell? You see these things online of someone made $6 million selling their NFTs. Someone made however many hundreds of thousands of dollars. Again, that's like if you've ever seen pyramid schemes or you've seen other forms of like network marketing where I'll show you the check. I made $150,000 this year. I bought it. And it's one person out of 90 people that ever do it that make that type of money, if not less. So it's just something to consider and how you're going to flip it. Now, I'm looking forward to this for me because I get to unify myself as an artist. And I do understand gas fees. Shut up, Ty. The thing that I'm excited most about is I get to be a unified artist. As a musician, I don't get to really push my photographs. As a photographer, I don't get to push my music. In either of those capacities, I don't get to push the book that I'm writing. I'm not able to be all at once myself because each one is this defined box. I'm excited about doing an NFT that somehow unifies my video work, my photo work, my MC stuff, my production, and maybe some writings and whatever else have you. And so that's dope. I'm really looking forward to it and doing something that's more content and message driven and going for the few number of people that are interested in that type of message instead of something that's much more oriented to like mass acceptance and awareness and like being a rapper. Like part of the thing when you rap, you're an MC, master of ceremonies, around 100 people. You want to make sure they have a good time, or like leave having an experience that they grow from or have gotten something positive out of it. You don't like rap for 2 people in a room of 100. You're like, I mean, theoretically you are, you just rap for yourself, you make your art for yourself. But any person who's made art, like I make a living off of making art. And so I have to always consider how it's going to affect the community, but I don't have to always consider whether or not people will like it. But if I'm going to do it in public or I'm going to go into a room of people, I have to be aware of that. I kind of like the idea of the NFT of making something where I don't need 100 people to like it. If only 2 people dig it, that's fine. And if I really am able to concentrate on what's meaningful to me and make something that really hits with 1 or 2 people, then and can generate some revenue, well, then that's cool. I'm down to try it. But I know a bunch of people are going to they're going to blow through hundreds of dollars hoping that someone's going to buy thousands of dollars worth of their work. And is that likely? Is that going to happen? Where are the people buying it? That's what I want to know. And I want to learn from people in person and not online because I've seen the hustle before. I'm 43. I already seen this pyramid scheme type of activity where everyone's like, take my course, jump in on my blah, blah, blah. And I'll tell everyone the same thing. Everyone does the same thing and none of them know what they're fucking doing. And so I'm in talks with some people. My homie Ty, who's on this chat, has started a group online that I trust and I'm a part of, and I'm learning through. I've been looking at a ton of tutorials and online videos and reading articles and talking to people that have been in the blockchain sphere for the past couple of years, crypto for the past couple of years. Lucky for me, like I work for a startup and have done some diversity training for other folks that are in the blockchain sphere. So I'm somewhat familiar with some of the terminology and the ideas, and I'm able to ask them some questions. And so I'm excited to see where we go with it. But I would advise anyone, educate yourself, keep learning, and we're going to see what happens. And Ty, let me address what you said. I didn't say there's a middleman. What I said was that in order for me to mint, then I have to pay a gas fee. The gas fee supposedly covers the cost of processing or the computer. That's like when a bank tells you that you need to give them money for holding money in their bank. They don't keep your money in the bank. They're just charging you for other things that they do, and so they can make more money. And so I know that when there's a fee on the artist to put up art, that means that no matter what, the site makes money and the artist might be losing money. All right. When you got to pay gas fees and those fees are hella volatile, I should say you all should be aware of that when you get into it. All right. And that it's not going to be the same cost to you every time you want to mint. And that I don't trust any corporation. I don't care what it is. And when they you got to pay this amount. Can't a single motherfucker tell me why my heating bill is as much as it is. You can't tell me why my electric bill is as much as it is. No business can actually legitimize why they're charging you how much they do. They tell you it's one thing or another, but it's just we willing to pay it or not. And that's my point. So I'm excited to see. If you have any other questions, holler at me. I'll be learning with you. I'm not here to be an expert on anything, and I'm already sick of how many people are saying they're doing classes or fake ass experts at things they've studied for a week. There are other people who've been in, internet and tech stuff for years. And so I'm part of Ty's group because he has been involved in this stuff for years. And I met him as a programmer back in 2006 or something like that. So I know my homie's been in the online sphere for as long as he has been. I listen to him. So if you get a chance, check out JoinCo. He and I are going to be releasing a coin at some point and working on some stuff with our group, Rosetta Stone, and doing some NFTs and working on it. Oh, I think it's pink. We finally going to put it out there to the limited few. But yeah, so I'll holler at y'all. Y'all be safe. Peace.
Be here. Now on to what I wanted to talk about, NFTs. And how it's the rage. And it's going to be like crypto, I assume, in the sense that maybe 3-4 years ago or however long ago, it was all in the news and everybody was getting into it. Folks who had already known about crypto may have been, fucking with it 5 years ago, 6 years ago, who knows how long ago. But it ends up all in the news. It's on CNN, it's on Fox News. So all of a sudden people start dumping in a bunch of money and then the market tanks. Well, that's what's supposed to happen. When you're the early adopter and when you're on the front side of it and you're involved in making the technology, you hype it up, you tell everybody, and you make it seem like it's going to change the entire world. And initially it doesn't. It's like virtual reality. How many decades ago did they say virtual reality was going to change the world? Augmented reality was going to change the world. Different people dump in money, they try stuff, it doesn't work. Lawnmower Man comes out and people are like, no. But then wait 20, 30 years, it does work. And it takes these different steps of the ebb and flow where somebody's like, yo, it's going to change the world. People put in a bunch of money. It doesn't change the world. It dies for a second, then it comes back. We'll probably see that with Google goggles or some of the headset stuff. So when I'm hearing all the talk around NFTs, I've seen this hype before. What you're seeing is true, that things can now behave differently. It is true that there's technology available that allows you to stamp a digital item and identify its point of origin and who developed it and who owns what rights to what. And using smart contracts and blockchain, you're able to monitor that and observe that and recognize that and follow it, right? So conceivably, it could make it better for artists who make music because you can track royalties and you can have a much simpler understanding of royalty breakdowns and splits than the contemporary music profession or music industry. If you think about, let's say, buying property, one of the difficulties is if you get 5 or 6 different people to buy property, it's identifying who owns what and can do what with what. Well, if you're able to identify all that and the blockchain can keep that agreement available to all parties involved, and if there's ever a challenge to it, a judge can easily identify what means what. Well, it makes it easier for people to own stuff together. So I get the concept of a digital stamp marker, packaging, some way to say something started at a time by a person, was allowed to be traded in a certain manner or what have you. Now, what you're also seeing is, I've been on Clubhouse recently and I've been reading a lot of articles, you're seeing a very imbalanced marketplace where you don't have a bunch of people that want something, right? You do, theoretically, but you don't. It's not like you have a bunch of people that want an orange. You have a person that grows an orange, and then you have an orange that's available to be bought or sold in marketplace. What you have are a whole lot of people that work in tech and who've been involved with crypto that are advocating for this industry and that are pushing it really heavy. What you don't see is a lot of buyers or a lot of people on the side of, we want your art, digital artists. And now you're seeing a whole lot of digital artists starting to make accounts and starting to upload stuff, which costs money. So you have the folks that have been in crypto for a long time, have invested in Ethereum or have invested in Bitcoin or any of the other coins, telling you that you should use a service that costs you money. And you can't use American money, you have to use a token or a cryptocurrency that they have invested money in. So the more people get involved and have to buy Ethereum to then mint and sell their artwork, then the more the people that own Ethereum are going to make money. Which I get, it's a great setup, and it doesn't mean that they are nefarious or doing something wrong. But I think, keep in mind, if you're an artist, how do we utilize new technology and not get fleeced, right? How do we utilize the new technology and not end up just supporting the other people's businesses? So when you think about, I'm an artist, I rap, what happens? People tell me, you need to get a manager, an agent, a lawyer, a PR person, a marketing person. You need to hire a stylist, a photographer, a videographer. So already they've named 9 other people's jobs that will exist because I want to be an artist, and I'll spend all the money I make at my job in order to pay for those people. Well, I don't have a day job. I make art as my living. So you know what I'm not doing is paying out all my money to other people that never make sure I make money. So when I look at blockchain technology and when I look at NFTs, it's super exciting because I want to be a unified artist. I don't want to be a musician or a photographer or a videographer or a what have you. We want to do it all. Hey, how are y'all doing?
How are you?
Great. You want to have a look?
Sure.
Yeah. Hey, let me put my mask on. So I'm doing a little Facebook Live. Come on in. You're free to.
I'm sorry, I don't want to bother you.
No, it's fine. This is what I'm actually talking about NFTs and blockchain. And I'm a person that believes in real life stuff, so of course I would say come in, check some stuff out. Yeah, have a look at some of the crystals.
Here, right?
Yeah, we do shows here.
Is this building for sale?
It is for sale.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I'm gonna have to check in with y'all in a second. But the point being, if you're gonna get into NFTs, understand who makes the money and why you're getting involved and who your audience is, who will buy it. You got a lot of folks telling you make an NFT, sell your art digitally, but they're not telling you who will actually buy it and how to get into those rooms. All right, we'll talk soon. Yo, what up? Hope you're doing well. It's Chris from Brooklyn Wildlife. Sorry, I had to talk to some folks that came in the store. So this is part 2 of NFTs and why I'm excited. Non-Fungible Tokens, what that means, and making art and digital art, and the prospects. So I think it's awesome for me as an artist that is multidisciplinary. So I can somehow unify now my vocals, my instrumentation, my photo work, my video work, my graphic design, and my writings, and then all the archiving type of stuff I do, and then put together an NFT as a package to sell. That's great. In terms of information we have access to, who's teaching us about NFTs? Are the people that you're talking to artists that have had a history making money doing it? Are the people you're hearing from the buyers and the folks that are collectors and the people that love collecting NFT art and can tell you the best marketplaces or how to develop a price point? Are the people telling you about NFTs the people that have made the platforms and that are heavily invested in crypto and make money whether you do or not? So it's something to consider. If the only person telling you about the car you're buying is the seller of it, and you can't go to another mechanic, you can't speak to anyone else who has information about cars, you can't get a record of the history of that dealership, you might want to be cautious. And so when we're thinking about NFTs and we're thinking about the world of people selling them right now, you go on Clubhouse or you go on any type of online platform, what you get is a bunch of folks that work in the space. What you get is a whole bunch of people that benefit from more people getting on. Not necessarily benefit from more people selling. You would think, well, if people sell, then these folks will make money. What it is, these folks are going to make money no matter what. And are we in the same situation as artists? Like I mentioned earlier, as artists, we're willing to spend our money on anything to try to get our work out to more people. But it doesn't mean that those services will actually benefit us or lead us to generating more revenue. And so I would say, dig, and I'm still looking for information. So I'm talking to myself when I'm posting this, and to not just believe the people selling you the item. So if you go into a store and you want to buy a fur coat, you don't just believe the person selling you the fur coat. You research the business, the industry, the other folks in it, the history of these activities, where you normally find mink, and how do you then turn them into coats. I don't know. You try to learn more about the information. You try to learn more about the industry. You try to learn more about the activities and practices and best practices and what's common or what rational people do in that field. Don't just listen to people telling you like NFTs are going to change the world. You can make $1 million. You can be like Grimes and make $6 million. You can be like, who was it? Kings of Leon. You can be like, there's someone that just released something, and I was in a clubhouse, and they were talking to MC Hammer, Swiss Beats was in it, all these other people, and they were like, so Hammer, why would anyone go with a label if you can sell your NFT for $6 million? And Hammer was like, you don't need a label. It's like, you can say that once you had a label. So Grimes didn't have, like, Grimes had backing for however long, decided to put this out, and it works. Kings of Leon has been on a major platform for how long, and then decided to do this NFT, and I believe they're still on a label. So me as Parn Hash, I'm not like MC Hammer. I'm not like when Radiohead put out their music online and just took donations or pay what you want, and they generated an average of $7 or $8 per download and downloaded however many. That's not what happens for most people. And in that case, they got more money per download than they normally would have gotten percentage-wise of a CD. So it's to keep questioning and to be excited. I'm definitely not here to rain on anybody's parade. I'm not an expert on anything. I'm excited about NFTs, but I need some information from the buyers. I want to find people that buy NFTs, that exchange them, and where that community is, and to hear more from that side of it. And I also want to hear more from artists who've had success doing that weren't already famous. If the key is you just got to get yourself famous and then go into NFTs, I'd like to know that. If there really is an option for it to be revolutionary for artists and provide an opportunity for artists like me to where I want to make the music, I want to do the vocals, I want to do the instrumentation, I want to do the video, I want to do the photos, I want to archive my little pieces of paper and scraps and napkins that I wrote it on, and then put that all into an item to sell and go direct to the person interested. I love that idea. I love the idea that I don't have to try to cater to the possibility of 1 million people's different thoughts and feelings when I'm trying to sell my work. I can worry about, are there 3 people in the entire world that feel what I'm working on? Are there 10 people in the entire world that feel what I'm working on, and go super deep into what I'm working on and what my real attachment is and see how that relates to others? So I'm excited about the field. I'm excited about the opportunities and the possibilities. I would say, like I said earlier, look into how you get your info. Because if the only people telling you about NFTs are the people that are going to make money with from you just joining, or going to make money from you having to pay for gas fees, or going to make money from you having to pay fees to mint or what have you, then it makes sense they're going to tell you to do it, and they want to get as many people to do it as possible, because then they make the most amount of money as possible. And if you make a lot of money, that's great, because then more people will do it. But on the other hand, there are enough people to where if folks just hop on and hop off real quick, but they each spend a certain amount of money, there's folks that will make millions of dollars in a week time period, in a 3-week time period, will make millions and millions of dollars. So keep in mind, like, who the folks are that are making these millions and millions and millions of dollars, and who the folks are that are spending hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to mint their artwork. All right, y'all be safe. Hit me up with any info. I want to learn more about the field. I'd love to hear more from people that are buyers and collectors, and I'd love to hear more from people that have been selling their work on NFT markets and what they do to promote, market, and what have you. I really don't need a whole lot of people explaining to me that it's going to revolutionize the world and everyone's life is going to be better. I got that part. That's a good sales pitch. I like the sales pitch. I just had to open up a bank account, and they're pitching me on all their different opportunities, and it's y'all gonna make money. All right, I got it. What I want to know, though, is how I make the money. All right, y'all be safe. Actually, what I want to know is how you make the money. That's what I want to know, because it's not just about me. We all win out here. All right, y'all be safe.